I'm Ryan Milton from Team Flex, and today we're going to be looking at Ben Weider Naturals Pro Wellness. So these are natural pro wellness competitors keeping on a natural pro wellness stage, and we're going to dive in. We're going to look at these placings, look at these athletes, go over the way the placings landed, why they may have landed the way they did, and also just go into the criteria bit and what all of this means for you as a wellness competitor out there trying to do your best on stage. And that's what I do on this channel 24/7. Try to give you the tools, the tips, the strategies, the things you need to know to be your best competitor. So if you're new here, subscribe. If you're a repeat watcher and you still haven't subscribed, you're crazy. Hang out. Let's get it down. So here's what we got. Ben Weider's Natural Pro Wellness. Keep in mind, natural pro wellness, natural athletes in the pro, division. So this is very exciting to look at. Really good example for all of you out there that are, wanting to compete naturally, and you should be doing that, in my opinion. Okay, let's take a look. So here we have Maria. She's our winner. We have over here Riley taking second place, and then we have over here Brooke taking third. So really good lineup, really good wellness look right out the gate. And again, you'll notice it doesn't look a lot different, even considering this is a natural one. That's something people always say, right? Especially people on PDs. They're like, oh, natural bodybuilding doesn't look the same. It's not as that. Hey, it looks the same. They're all athletes of the criteria. So let's dive into it. So with Maria, what we can see, she's got a lot of hair covering her shoulders here, but that's all right because we know that there's this shape here. We know that that's there because it's just showing through in that size. And even though the hair's on it, which is not always ideal, sometimes it happens though. And it doesn't favor you negatively if you have the rest of the physique, which she really does. Very narrow waist. So you can tell right away we got this dramatic taper. This is favored with judging. This is favored in the criteria. This is what judges want to see. And that will definitely be an advantage to have on a wellness physique. So if you're out there, get your waist narrow, get your shoulders popping, okay? That's going to help you a lot. Looking lower body, glutes from the front, okay? We see the glute shape. We can see the upper glute fullness. We got it all. We got hamstrings. We got quads. It all ties together. A very lower body dominant look. And that's really exactly what wellness should be about. Creating that symmetry in the muscles of the lower body between the glutes, the hams, and the quads, but making sure that it looks out of symmetry to the upper body. And no doubt that's what's happening in this front pose. Looking at Riley here, she's got a bit more muscle up top, it looks like, right? So she appears to be a little bit more of a symmetrical athlete from this position, which again, she's taking second. So maybe that's a little bit of the difference, a little bit more dominant up top, may not be favoring her. However, she still has, very good glute development, overall quad development, and hamstring here. So she's still lower body dominant, just carrying a little bit more muscle in the upper body here, I think. And looking over here at Brooke, what we can see, Brooke, very symmetrical. This is a quarter turn, which she's using as her front. It appears from the photos, which is, you can do that in wellness, right? You can choose kind of these front poses in a sense. And she appears to be doing that here. So it's a little bit of a different look, but overall we can see the framework is there for her. It almost looks like she's, again, kind of riding that line of a little too much symmetry. I would bring those shoulders down just a tad, and that may favor her better, but lower body is clearly developed, clearly a lot of pop going on from the glutes and the hamstrings and the quads. This is a very wellness look from the lower body perspective. A little bit more of, shoulders up top, which can balance it out. And it's not balanced, but it's close. It's closer. And she, her conditioning appears to be a little bit softer. Would like to see a little more lines out of the, quads, the glutes, and the shoulders. But hey, we'll see from the back because wellness is one from the back. And here we are. So in the back pose, same athletes in this lineup. Here's where Maria kind of ties it all together. We can see a little bit of shoulder shape. You do want to see just a tad of that, right? But this proves, again, not overdone in the upper body. Tapers down to the waist. And really what we should see from the back pose in wellness is going to be all glutes, hamstrings, a little bit of quads. So glutes very full. She's got a lot of fullness in the glutes. The upper glute is there. The roundness, the overall shape, the tie-in into the hamstring, all good. And looking over here, the quad sweeps from the back. This is what you want to see in wellness division. If you don't have that quad sweeping from the back, you don't have big enough quads for wellness. So something you want to work on and bring that through. And really her hamstrings as well, very on point. You can see that, pop coming through there, that development, that definition, if you will, and that all ties together. Very good balance between these muscle groups, a very complete wellness look. Looking from the back for Riley, again, it all ties together nicely. She looks much more dominant lower body here from the back, but she looked a little bit symmetrical from the front, and I think there's a clear example that her glutes need to be brought up a bit. So a little bit less in the upper glute, a little bit less in the overall glute. And, the quads really do sweep a lot here, but that is out of balance in a way. You still want your lower body muscles to be balanced and symmetrical to each other. Glutes should match quads should match hamstrings, and so on and so forth. All those groups need to match. So her glutes appear to be a little bit downsized from the back here, and that's going to be an effect that, maybe has taken her down into that second place. Keep in mind, we're talking about second place at a pro event. Nothing to scoff at. Very good physique overall, representing criteria. Looking at Brooke, okay, so clearly dominant from the lower body in this shot. Shoulder shape just a little bit, that's good. Tapers in nicely, that's good. For her, it just appears to be a little bit more of that asymmetrical zone of the lower body. So another athlete that we're seeing that's in that. She's got, a ton of glute shape of the upper glute, a ton of overall glute shape. The tie-in is there, everything's there, but there's a lot of mass going on in these quads, like a ton. That's why we're seeing this, full big sweep going on from the back. So it does appear still a little asymmetrical in that spot. And from the front, we kind of get that too. So it's a ton of glutes, but it's also a ton of quads, and maybe they're just not in the same balance of group. Maria in this lineup looks much more balanced. Everything is symmetrical with that. So that's something that, could go either way. And her conditioning is not as tight. It's a little bit softer. You can see that in the back. So maybe a little tighter there would have favored her as well. But overall, great representation of criteria. Now, here we go, looking at our fourth and our fifth in the lineup. So we have Carmen here in fourth, and then we have Alicia over here in fifth, with obviously Maria, the winner, in the middle. What we see as we go down the line is, again, a lot of the same things, which is what I pretty much see at every Wellness Pro event right now, is the physiques start to get more and more symmetrical, right? They have a lot of muscle, they have a lot of shape, maybe on par conditioning. They get too symmetrical though, and that's what we see here. So Carmen, she's got a lot of upper body muscle. We can see it in her shoulders, we can see it in her biceps and her triceps. It all tapers down nicely. Glute shape is here, everything is there. Quads, hamstrings is all there, but it's all very symmetrical. It's not a wellness lower body dominant look from this front. So I think that's a factor. And also, things to adjust with posing, I would suggest as well in that lineup. Alicia, same thing. A lot of good shoulder shape, overall tapers in. Glutes you can see, quads you can see. Less muscle overall in the lower body, so that's definitely an effect that's going to, need to be improved probably upon, but also very symmetrical look. Again, wellness, you don't want to be symmetrical. It's not going to favor you as well. Looking at both of these athletes now from the back, what we see, shoulders, not really as much shoulder here. So even though, it's a little bit more muscle in this lineup, it's a little bit out of balance from the back. You want to have a little bit more of that shoulder showing through there. Glute shape is there, upper glute, but the rest of it, the overall glute and the tie-in is kind of getting lost. So a little more size, a little more density there, maybe a little bit more condition. Quads seem to be overpowering. However, still, this is a very symmetrical physique up and down, which again is not the most ideal wellness look. And looking over here at Alicia, we can see again, very symmetrical look from the upper to lower. Also conditioning appears to be a bit off, softer in general here, not as much muscle in the lower body in the quads and the hamstrings. Still good glute shape development overall, but again, those are the areas that could improve in my opinion. So realistically, what we learn is that, even at the natural events, these wellness athletes are going to stand out and they're going to be able to bring their best in their shape. And that means you can too. So you don't need to be out there doing PEDs, taking steroids, doing XYZ. You don't have to do that to compete. So if you want to compete and you want to do it naturally, which I suggest you do, you can definitely do that. I mean, this is a pro event, and you can get to that place for sure by being a natural athlete. This is an attainable look for this whole top 5 for any natural athlete out there. So just keep that in mind as you go, and I really think this is a great representation of the lineup, and placings can shift either way. All top 5 are good representations of the wellness criteria. All right, so if you have any questions or anything, you guys comment them. I'm happy to answer them. More show reviews coming and a lot of other good content. Thank you for watching. Coach Rye is out.